storage space. Basically, what I'm talking about is sentence structures and how eventually after something comes together, you edit and you introduce hypotheticals or you introduce some contradictory statement or Socratic questioning in order to, better your argument and find and weed out any weak points or loopholes or whatnot. Which, it'd be amazing if you do that all the time, but you can't always be like questioning. But at the same time, I feel like that usually goes on in some way, shape, or form in decision-making process and subtly in our subconscious and whatnot. But it's playing devil's advocate or just making sure that things are as well thought out or put together as possible. But I feel like we naturally do it as well in our own sort of human psychology, nature. We want to question things and we want to seek out certainty, but in order to do so, we come up with all these systems and processes. And then earlier I was talking about that and the need to devise systems, and that's how governments arise and how they evolve over time. And without Saturn-type energy in that sense, going back to the Middle Ages when people are a little bit more barbaric and to take a load off those in charge, authority, it was probably great to have some sort of religion to keep people in line, and Ten Commandments going back to even earlier. And how, you wouldn't have to hopefully reiterate every time it's not okay to do this or that, or do not murder your neighbor. Which, depending on what the situation is that you're dealing with, might be what seems like a viable option. But hopefully we evolve over time and more so self-regulation and less need for types of overlord hierarchical structures, but how you can appreciate the necessity that it probably was for some sort of parameters, but then how that can be taken to either extreme and religions and wars, and without, though, some central point of balance. What are you comparing? It's like we want to usually villainize the other, that being that which is outside of ourselves, because who doesn't want to think that they're right and rule the world? So, it comes down to two different types of people. I should probably take my naproxen for my back. There needs to be that third, deciding factor in the judge, and that's probably my seventh house, Jupiter in Aquarius at 11 degrees, and then part of fortune. In a sense, you could relate it on that level, I suppose, but it is all aspects of my own personality as well, and being, mind. And I was comparing just concepts of the grand air chine and how it works in conjunction with the complexity of stellium of the seventh house and different expressions. And as she says in that grand trine video, to think of aspects of sitting around a round table, and you can see that, and it's demonstrated in Fergie's Enchante and to my birth chart with the rising sun in yellow and a raincoat. I try to fight my not getting to the bath. I was like 4, my pictures. My mom was the Aries Red Bull trying to steer me into the ocean, last unicorn, let my people go. I was ready to, but anyways. And Venus and the sun having conversation together, usually are friends, as you can see in my drawings, skipping on water, and they're just like, hey. And Aries midheaven, with the red shirt and the A, and the girl doing the 7th house, and everyone else thinks it's an act. And yeah, but how do you think, train of thought? giving yourself parameters. I was trying to think of how you would describe making work ADD, or just being able to make quick connections and system thinking, and how the internet started, even switchboards and that nature, complexity, and how it's necessary, but also how to steer clear of pitfalls and false connections, or perhaps connections that don't add value to the overall big picture point, reason for making a playlist, the reason for being, raison d'être. Did I say it correctly this time? Terrible French accent. Yeah, so there's all those kinds of things. You just end there, but yeah, I guess so. But no, there was something else I wanted to talk about. Just like Edie, talk to someone outside of my perception, or outside of the camera's view. Tools of creation, as he talks about in the Louis Vuitton, or is mentioned Louis Vuitton, Heaven on Earth, Neptune and Capricorn bringing enlightenment, or some things of Neptune, dreamy, down to earth, and Capricorn in the 6th house in daily life, which is ruled by Virgo, but also Heaven on Earth. I was complimenting myself, me, on Earth sign. Very, very serious Capricorn, serious moonlight. Let's dance. Anyways, yeah, and Edie, and her Edie number 2 talks to someone off screen. And so tools of creation, notebook, and some kind of lens and way of viewing whether your own work or, as I was saying, I could just have that connected to my computer and be viewing my past art projects on a large scale. So it comes down to just means of viewing perspective, and why go do anything otherwise, just be a wee sensibility about everything, and I don't know how to hold any importance, and why go to the museum at all, because if we created in the past together, we could just do it again, and just the importance of individualism and having a perspective, and we wouldn't have any of the greats and artists and whatnot that help change and progress all of history as we know it, hopefully, usually for the better. But that self-regulation sense that we hope to get to as we evolve, because what I can only suspect will be very, and is already, relevance, fluctuations in relevance of some kind when it comes to parameters and system thinking, and not wanting to overstep to other people's, our individual rights these days, and how dare they insult mine, and preferences, and all of it. How you build a system of government, and how that evolves necessity out of parameters and some way of judging or evaluating and processing that which we encounter as we go about our daily lives. But scale then, and the axes and the alchemical axes of mind and spirit, and emotional to expressive energy, and horizontal axes, and how that fluctuates again also. Waves meeting the shore and shoreland. There would just be a type of polytope, of this U-shaped building that is shoreland. Where I grew up, that was interesting to be taking notes as I was driving, but didn't have to drive. Just driven around by someone else. That's another experiment. See how my timing changes based on someone else's choices and speed and direction. And the Tesseract in the parking lot. There's so much. So much to talk about. 8-bit current. Pulling it all together. Go back and see that playlist if you prefer, like. Then I guess that goes back to the value of idea project and why the value, quality, importance. People already saw that, so. And the mishap they're in with the